I hate bureaucracy and I hate excuses why you can't do good things. And that absolutely drives me nuts.
Welcome to the Pulaski Planner, where we share the stories and wisdom of the professionals who manage our public lands. I'm Catherine Kirchner, your guide to building a retirement as adventurous as your career. Let's get started. Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining me today. I want to give context to, we found each other on LinkedIn, and what struck me was the post you made about how after you retired, you were kind of surprised by what that looked like and felt like, and more, maybe you can speak to that. And then you had an opportunity where someone thought of you and you were given a new adventure, and hopefully you've had some time to get adjusted in that new role. Awesome. Okay, I'll give
Yes.
it over to you.
So my name is Jose Noriega. I live in Ely, Nevada, where I was born and raised. I I went to Utah State University and became a wildlife biologist. Got a degree in fisheries and wildlife management. Became a wildlife biologist. Did that for just under 10 years, and then I became a district ranger with the United States Forest Service. I spent 34 years with the Forest Service, and ended up becoming the district ranger in my hometown where I retired. Um, I had, towards the end of the last 7 or 8 years of my career, I'm the kind of person I plan out everything. So I had a set plan for what my retirement was going to be. I would retire in August of 2026. And then I kind of had a plan that I was going to run for public office. And county commissioner was one of those positions I was looking at running for. Well, things kind of unraveled a little bit over the last couple of years with the Forest Service and with the government in general for employees. And I ran into some struggles where I had some disagreements with my supervisor, and had some struggles in my own office. And based on those, when the opportunity for the early retirement, the deferred resignation option came about, I decided I had probably better take that, to protect my retirement and stuff. I took it and settled into kind of retirement. I have a little farm where I raise goats and chickens and all that.
Nice.
But I was kind of feeling lost a little bit because my plan had been completely upended. And so during that time, the local government here, the county commission, was in a great deal of turmoil. And one of the county commissioners retired, or not retired, resigned from the commission. And an opportunity came open. When you have a resignation like that in public office, the governor in the state of Nevada appoints that. Well, the governor appointed me to that position.
Nice.
And so I'm currently a White Pine County Commissioner. I'm running for the public office here this November, and have settled in fairly good. My experiences with the Forest Service transferred very well over to the county. Little different process, but the same craziness.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That lays it out real nicely for us. If you don't mind, I'd like to kind of plug in a little bit more. Can you share with us what was the experience of, that first week or couple weeks of being retired, and how did the reality feel and set in versus the plan?
So I slept in every day. um, I had always planned on going fishing and doing all that kind of stuff in retirement, but um, there was no one there to go do those things I wanted to do with. My wife is still working, and most of the other people that I know and hang out with are still working. And so I kind of just stayed around the house. I kept busy on the farm and that type of stuff. But it was such an abrupt change. It was kind of a shock to the system. And so, yeah, it just was, it was definitely a shock to the system, especially for someone who plans out kind of long term where I'm going. So,
The folks I get to speak with and work with, associated with the Forest Service, they talk about the Forest Service as their family, their extended family.
yeah.
And so what was that like for you, especially since you spoke a little bit about the turmoil of the changes that everyone was trying to deal with. When you were no longer, once you retired, did you feel like you still had those relationships to, as a part of your support system, or how was that different after retirement?
So there are well, so I went through that very early in my career. Forest Service was extremely family like. Forest Service families did everything together. I sometimes lived on the same compounds together, which I did in both Chalice and in Panguitch for a while. And so very, very close. I have noticed more recently that it is not as close knit anymore now. People are tending to be more their family oriented, and their families are not as tied as strongly to the Forest Service. But um, when I left, I still maintained a lot of those contacts. And so my former employees that used to work for me still call me for advice, still ask for my help. I still go in every once in a while and check in on things, sometimes maybe a little butt chewing sessions. So I am very passionate about serving the people and getting things done. And so that with the Forest Service is something that I want to see continue into the future. And so, but I maintain those contacts and coworkers, other district rangers. I have numerous other district rangers that I still speak to on a weekly basis, keeping in touch with and helping out when I have a chance. So
That's great to hear. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm curious. You said that you were appointed by the governor. How did that connection happen? Can you share a little bit with us about that?
so there's one thing about being a district ranger in the Forest Service that's absolutely critical, that you are part of the community and that you make those connections in the community. You don't always have to agree, but it's key that you work in the community to the point that you're respected in the community. So after I retired, when this vacancy come open, a whole bunch of people in the community submitted my name up to the governor to be appointed to this position. And I did do an application to that point, and then it wasn't long after that that the governor appointed me to the position.
Awesome. It's a great process. Um, can you share a little bit about those connections or those bridges between what you were doing as a ranger to what you're doing as a county commissioner?
So when I was a ranger, it was all about communication. You always showed up to meetings and participated with the public and with the community and with other agencies and local leadership. As an example, when we were going through the pandemic and we shut down, we were directed not to go to public meetings or any of that type of stuff, even with protection. I didn't follow those rules. I still continued to go to public meetings and that type of stuff to be present during these challenges. And that gained a lot of respect and stuff from the community, that you were there and you were invested. Um, and so as a county commissioner, I'm doing the same thing. Um, I've already had one meeting today. I have two more this afternoon to go meet with people to help them out with situations related to the county commission. And so I have a very open door policy. My cell phone number is out there, an email is out there for anyone that wants to see it. And so just being involved and trying to help people the best you can.
What are some of the challenges that you are excited about helping with in your community?
Um, Couple of challenges, and I'll just share this one related more to the Forest Service: bureaucracy. I hate bureaucracy and I hate excuses why you can't do good things. And that absolutely drives me nuts. And so, in fact, that was one of my most recent visits to the Forest Service office here in Ely. We have a Forest Service office that can't sell wood permits or maps because of the bureaucracy around being able to approve someone to sell a wood permit.
Hmm.
And so when I was a district ranger there, we lost all our admin people. I was still selling wood permits and maps, and they found out, the upper level leadership found out, and they took it away from me. So even though I'm the person that approves the people that sell the maps,
Hmm.
and as an example, I could permit an open pit gold mine, but I can't sell a $20 map.
Wow.
Bureaucracy. I hated it. Um, with the county, I'm stepping into a little bit different situation. There is what I would call a lot of drama right now going on with our county commission. And so, kind of trying to help them to pull it together and to get rid of some of this drama so that we can refocus. And there's a lot of great big projects right now going on with some large grants. Like one is for a large park worth $20 million.
Wow.
And so I got to help them through that so that then we can proceed forward.
That's awesome. It was something I was going to ask. Oh, are you able to sleep in anymore, or you have to get up at early again?
Sometimes, like today, when I was able to have a say in scheduling some of the meetings, I made sure that there were no meetings at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No one likes an 8 o'clock in
So,
the morning meeting. Thank you.
yeah, no. I don't have, I have very few 8 o'clock meetings, if any, and very few at 9 o'clock as well.
There you go.
So I get to do that. I realize though that's a challenge for someone retiring though. Um some people like me have that tendency to sleep in. We like our mornings, but it's not necessarily very healthy or very good to do it too much.
Mm,
And so that's one of the good reasons for staying active and doing these types of things. A county commission job though is not a full-time job, and so I don't want a full-time job
sure.
in after I retired. I don't need the benefits. I don't need the money. I'm set. I did it to make a difference in the community.
That's awesome. Well, I hope that your campaign goes well. Is that something that you're focusing on in earnest, or does that pick up later toward in the year?
So so it's an interesting situation. There are two county commission seats that are open. The other commissioner is facing four people running against him for his position. Um, I am facing only one challenger. That challenger, who is a nice guy, but he got into some ethical violations years ago when he was a mayor of Ely, and he can run for a public office, but he can never hold a public office. So that's who is challenging me.
All right. Huh.
So I'm kind of running unopposed. However, I've made it a point to go out and do campaigning to get my name out there so people know who I am.
Great.
At least those few that already don't.
I always like to engage in storytelling with Forest Service retirees. Do you have any highlights from your career, things you're really proud of, or things that maybe are humorous that you'd like to share with us about your long career with the Forest Service?
I've, everyone tells me before I lose my mind and can't remember everything that I need to sit down and write a book because I've had a whole bunch of different experiences. I can tell you right now that I actually have held a live wolverine in my hands. Early in my career, in Idaho, I helped Idaho Fish and Game to live trap some wolverines and put transmitters on them. And so not everyone can say that kind of stuff. I
Absolutely.
had the opportunity to ride in lots of helicopters. I did a lot of prescribed burning. Prescribed fire was one of my specialties. I was never a burn boss, but I participated and got in the middle of all of it. And so I had some interesting situations while I did prescribed fire. And I really enjoyed it and saw the benefits of it. More recently, before I retired, I ended up doing a lot of fire for resource benefit.
Okay.
And apparently the agency says that doesn't exist anymore. But since I'm not in the agency anymore, I take offense to that. And it does exist and is an appropriate tool in the right locations. And so anyway, it's been there's an awful lot of stories, crazy stuff.
I'm curious about the Wolverine. Was it tranquilized? Is that how you picked it up?
Yes, it was tranquilized. I forgot to mention that. Otherwise, I would be missing one arm.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, such cool animals, but very fierce. Yeah, that's cool.
I got to share one other one. When I was in Idaho, when I was in Idaho in the early '90s, is when they were transplanting wolves into central Idaho, kind of associated with the Yellowstone wolf
Sure.
stuff. I was actually one of the drivers that was supposed to drive the wolves from Missoula down into Idaho to the transplant location.
Wow.
And on my way to Missoula with one other guy in the truck with me, we were ordered by the regional forester to return to base because there was an armed contingent waiting for us at the Idaho Montana border. So they actually had to fly the wolves in from Missoula with a helicopter direct into the Frank Church Wilderness.
That's a good story. Yeah, wow. I'm out of Big Timber, Montana. I don't know if you know
Oh,
familiar.
yeah, I know where it's at.
So definitely nearby to that ecosystem. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful part of the world.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Let me think. Anything you would do differently about approaching your retirement in terms of planning or anything related to that?
I can't know because a lot of the planning that I did towards a retirement, I had a boss when I first a supervisor when I first started that gave me some really good advice. And I followed that advice and it set me up really good for retirement.
Do you mind
And so
sharing? We're all
I can share. He he uh he gave me advice in the TSP to put everything I had into the C fund.
okay.
He said, early in your career, don't put it in the G fund. And he told me that the F fund, the bond fund, had the risk of the C fund with the return of the G fund. And he says, so I've never been in the F fund. And these new L funds
Yeah,
that came, that's after my time. I'm
sure.
old school. So I left it in the C fund and I let it grow and I ignored it, especially when it was falling.
Yeah,
Never panicked. I watched so many people panic and withdraw it after it already fallen.
yeah.
And so when I retired, I had well over $2 million in my TSP. And so now, like I said, I can withdraw a certain amount every month and live fairly comfortably.
I have to say for because for the benefit of the audience listening that this is not advice, that every situation is different and you do you, right? We're not telling people how
Yeah,
to what's right for them, but the L funds can be great for people now that they kind of self-balance as you get closer to retirement. I do see a lot of people who make that mistake where they overinvest in the G fund too early and then it doesn't grow enough to help them meet their goals when they're ready to retire. But I'm glad that that worked out for you. We like to say with my firm, we have a couple of sayings about like not panicking and not, getting your money
yeah,
out of the market. One is don't just do something, stand there, or, like it's the opposite of, yeah. And then the other one that I like is your retirement portfolio is like a bar of soap. The more you handle it, the less of it there is.
yeah.
So,
I always said that, like the 2008 crash when it dropped, and I saw so many people make that mistake of moving out of it. That's a buyer's market. That's when you up your contribution.
you know, the investment side of things is it's not rocket science. We have a lot of research into it and what makes sense for people to do. It's just that people are involved in the doing it part. And
Yeah,
we have a lot of feelings and emotions and it's hard to stay the course sometimes. So
yeah,
good on you
yeah.
for having the discipline to stick with your plan.
That's why I drive a 25-year-old truck.
Ooh, what kind? I'm just curious now.
Ford F-150.
Solid, solid. Very good. Well, it was a real pleasure to visit with you. Thank you so much for taking me up on my my LinkedIn message. I wish you the very best for your campaign. It sounds like you're doing really good by your community. So thank you for continuing to serve even after retirement.
Thank you.
And that concludes my interview with Jose Noriega. I hope that you were all able to take away something from his experience, whether that be enjoying stories from his long career or thinking with a new perspective about what your next chapter might look like after retirement. As always, don't lose sight of the forest for the trees. Follow me for more insights into how you can manage your financial life the same way you steward our public lands. Thank you.